Aditya, is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Hi. All right. Well, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I will walk you through exactly what we're going to do today.
All right. Can you see the screen?
Yep. Cool. So you're already on a web browser and github.com. Excellent. So go to github.com/operation code.
All right.
And then from there, you'll see all of our repositories, and the front end is the one that we're going to start with today.
Okay.
All right. Now, up in the top right corner, there is a button called Fork. It's actually beneath that big banner ad, but it would be.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, so click that button. And what this is going to do is this is going to create a copy of this repo under your account in GitHub.
Okay.
And it shows that this branch is even with operation code main, so it'll show you like how out of sync you are with it. In this case, you're perfectly in sync because you just cloned it, or forked it. That's the word. We're about to clone it. So what you need to do is click that green code button.
Where would that be?
Yeah, right next to that, it's green and it says code and it's got a little download.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to use SSH, which there's that blue link. Yep, there you go. All right, so now in order to use SSH, we need to add a public SSH key. So this is where we get to start to have some fun in the terminal. So yeah, you can go ahead and click that link, but the thing that you need to paste into there, we need to generate on your computer. So bring up a terminal. What I would do if I were you is go ahead and bring up VS Code.
Okay. I actually have this open. So.
Yep. And then control backtick, which is the one that's right above the tab.
Yep.
And that should bring up a terminal.
Wait, so it's the one right next to the one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're holding down control and then pressing it?
Yep.
There it is.
Okay.
All right, so now we've got a terminal. All right, so this is using the PowerShell. I think there's a way to go into the Windows subsystem for Linux, but I think that we can also do this in PowerShell. So earlier today, I sent you a link in Slack that was talking about SSH, and this is the moment where we should bring up that link, and it's going to tell us exactly what we need to put in.
This one?
Yep. So we can skip the about SSH and go straight to checking for existing SSH keys. It's right up at the top now. Cool. So this instructions is for Git Bash. Interesting. So I thought that they were going to have PowerShell instructions. Like I said before, I'm not a Windows guy, so I apologize about that part.
That's all right.
All right, so we have two options. We can either figure out WSL together, or we can install Git Bash. Do you have a preference?
Well, we can try like installing Git Bash. All right.
Okay. So. Sure. So if you go to Google or whatever and just Google Git Bash, then we can find the program and download it and install it. Git for Windows, I think, is the link that you'll want.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, you know what? I don't think it's that one. I think it's the next one down on Google.
Oh, okay. This one?
Yeah, let's try that one and see if it... Yeah, Windows. There we go. Alrighty, so what this is going to do is going to give you another terminal program that you'll use specifically for Git. And we'll work on getting you set up with WSL a different time, or if we have time at the end, perhaps we'll kind of dig into that.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, the defaults are totally fine for this one. You can just, yeah. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and launch it.
Cool.
Awesome. So what I like to do at this point is create a folder where I'm going to keep all of my code. Maybe you already have such a folder on your computer. If not, then a great place to stick it is in home/code. And so you could make a new folder called code.
Okay. Well, I already have something I call VS Code. So I think,
Okay, sure.
yeah,
So in the terminal, if you do CD, that stands for change directory, CD, and then space, and then a capital V. And if you hit the tab, a V for VS Code. And then if you hit the tab, it should autocomplete. Okay, videos. Where is that VS Code folder located? It's in Aditya. It's in data Aditya. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So scroll. Yeah, go back to your CD ... will bring you up a level. There needs to be a space in between though.
Okay.
And then enter. And then from there, LS.
Do I enter?
Yep. All right, so you'll actually need to go, I think, up to root and then /D, it looks like, is what it's going to be. So try CD/D. Well, space /D, sorry.
V or D?
D, delta.
Okay.
All right, LS from there. All right, cool. Now CD into Aditya, and if you just hit the space and then capital A, and then you can do the tab, and you should be able to choose maybe AD, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. And then capital CD, capital V. Like a lowercase CD and then space a capital.
Oh, okay.
And then, well, you'll tab over
sorry.
to VS Code. No, you're good. There you go, perfect. Enter. All right, so now we're in the directory that you want to be in when you create your code on your machine. So what you'll do from here is, well, we're going to work in here, but we're going to generate the SSH key that we needed before. So if you go back to your browser and back to the instructions, yep. You can copy and paste that ls command, ls-al.
No, wait, what?
I think you have to do Control-Shift-V.
Oh, okay.
Or perhaps you just have to right click and do paste.
That's okay, I'll just type it in.
Yeah, that's fine too. All right, and so what this is doing is this is listing the contents of your home/SSH directory, but it doesn't exist. So that's fine. What we're going to do is generate it instead. So if you look down where it says, if you receive an error that home/.ssh doesn't exist, don't worry, we'll create it. Go ahead and click that generate a new SSH key link. All right, scroll down. There we go. Now you'll go ahead and type that in or paste it in, I suppose, but instead of your email at example.com, you're going to do your actual email for your GitHub account.
Okay. I did it, typed it in right.
Yep, looks good. So you can click enter for that. That's just going to use the default. And then you can do empty, no passphrase. That's fine. As long as nobody can get on your computer, then you don't need a passphrase for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. And then, yay, you've got random art. So the next thing that you'll do is we went through steps 3 and 4 for generating a new SSH key. Scroll down a little bit on that browser window. Now we're going to make sure that the SSH agent is running. Do that eval space $SSH agent -s. All right, great. And then now do that SSH add home/ it's just that tilde. That tilde is actually really important. So if you get back to, yeah, I think you have to use the arrow keys in Git Bash.
Oh, okay.
Yep, tilde stands for your home directory. So whereas if you left it off, then it would be trying to do an absolute path from root. Okay, so press enter. All right, you've got an identity now. Click that link for add SSH key to your GitHub account. All right, so we're going to copy to your clipboard using that clip command that it mentions.
I can't scroll down anymore, so.
It's okay.
I can't really see that because like the Zoom thing's blocking the way, but did I type that in right?
Yeah, it looks good to me. You could probably make the window smaller too, if that helps.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so it should be on your clipboard. Now go back to that window for adding an SSH key on GitHub. Yep. You can title it whatever the name of this computer is. So suppose that you're on, your Windows laptop, you could just call it Windows laptop or whatever, whatever you might know this computer to be.
Yeah, Windows 8.
And then paste it in there. Great. Add SSH key. All right, and now you've got a new SSH key. So what we're going to do next is go back to the page that had your fork of Operation Code's front end repo?
Okay.
Yeah, if you just go to github.com, you should have a new link for it too.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. So click that fork button one more time. And then this time, since you've already forked it, it should, yeah, just go to it. Perfect. Now click that code button one more time. And now when we use SSH, yep, no error. So copy it. You can copy it with that clipboard, or you can just, yeah, that works too, either way.
Yep.
All right, now go back over to the terminal, the Git Bash. Alrighty, and then you're going to type git, G-I-T, space clone, space, and then paste in that link. And what this is going to do is it's going to download the contents of that link, the contents of the repo into its own folder on your local computer. So it's basically like downloading it, but it clones the whole Git repository. Try right-clicking and see if it lets you paste in that. Yeah, there you go. Shift insert.
Nice. Okay.
So there you go. That's the shortcut for it.
Okay.
All right, so it's cloning in the front end. You're going to press enter or type in yes. And then press enter. Yeah. Oh, no. It says could not read from the remote repository, but why not? Aha, now we get to troubleshoot. It says permission denied. However, we just added the key to your, so go up to your profile in GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
But not your profile, but your settings down near sign out, but settings.
Oh.
No, not that one, the actual one that was in the dropdown.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. It's kind of confusing that they have two settings that were very, very close. All right, this one will be SSH and GPG keys on the left, about halfway down. Yeah, there you go. So it says never used. So perhaps something went wrong with the copy and paste. So let's go ahead and, you know what, let's click that common SSH problems link and just make sure that we're not doing something wrong. All right, creating strong password, no. Let's try reviewing your SSH keys and see what's in there. All right, so we did that and we looked at the SSH and GPG keys. Keep scrolling. All right, keep going. Okay, and then so they're allowing you to approve and delete them. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the fingerprint for your SSH key.
Mm-hmm.
SSH add -L.
Okay.
And then this should list out your SSH keys. All right, so it says SHA 256. That doesn't look exactly the same, does it?
No.
But I wonder. Oh, you know what? Do that -E MD5 after. So if you press up, then you can repeat the last command. But then do a space and then that -E. It's capital E, actually.
Okay.
And then space MD5. Yeah. All right, and then check over back in your settings for GitHub. the SSH key.
Wait, wrong tab.
Yeah, okay. And then so 57, 22, 66, and then it ends in 55. So that's the right key. Maybe try it one more time. Over in Git Bash, just click up a few times to get back to that git clone command.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Try that one more time. I don't know why it is doing permission denied. That is very interesting because that's clearly the right SSH key. And that's your account. This one is not one I've seen before. That's really odd. But we're going
try using like WSL or whatever like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that we can, but I imagine that you'll have a similar problem, but we will see. Okay, so I want to bring up WSL Windows. I'm Googling away. So you've never enabled the feature before?
I think not. So.
All right. So I'm gonna link you in Slack a link. And what this has is a PowerShell command that you can run. And if you copy that and paste it into your VS Code terminal that's running PowerShell, then you should be able, it should enable the Windows subsystem for Linux. All right, it looks like you have to be an administrator. So we need to open PowerShell as admin. So if you click over on the bottom left, that Windows icon, then you should be able to search for PowerShell in there or type in the search for PowerShell. Yeah, and then run it as an administrator over on the right.
Yep.
Cool. And then you should be able to paste it in there and that should enable the feature. Cool. All right, so that's completed. Let's see what's next on that article that we had brought up with that command in it. No, that Windows article is the one that I meant.
Oh, okay.
How do you actually, so we don't have to worry about WSL2. Okay, so I guess you just run WSL at the prompt. So go back to the VS Code terminal.
Okay.
And hopefully this time, just type in WSL and let's see if it brings up WSL. Nope, not correct. Is anybody on the call a Windows person that knows how to get into WSL? All right, I guess not.
If you want, Aaron, you can share from your screen and maybe just set him up later.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, but I've already forked the repo and everything. So, I mean, I don't have, like, it's hard to show like a getting set up tutorial.
Right, exactly.
When you're already set up. So it looks like that article also says that you need to open the Microsoft Store and select your favorite Linux distribution. So yeah, if you could open the Microsoft Store, then we should be able to go from there. Search for, you know what, let me just copy this link to you in Slack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to go over in my head like what must have gone wrong with the permission denied error. That's still really confusing to me. I wonder if you can clone it from the regular operation code repository.
Should we try that?
Yeah, sure. Let's give it a shot. So yeah, go back to the operation code.
Right here?
Yeah, over on the left where it says forked from operation code front end, click that link for operation code front end. And yeah, there we go. That's the one. And then from there, the green code button. And then click use SSH. And copy that. All right, it should be on your clipboard. And then go back over to Git Bash and type in git clone, that same URL.
Wow. Wait, where is insert on a Windows thing? Oh, well, I'll just right click.
Okay, yeah.
Aaron, I found
I'm sorry.
I found something for you guys. I want to put it in the chat and see if that helps. Okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah, well, it looks like we got corns. What do corns mean?
The lines of the code. Maybe he didn't put anything in there or missing something. That's what I meant by that.
Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so we got the repository cloned now. So if you cd into the new folder that is called front end, on Git Bash, type in cd, and then a space, and then a lowercase f, and then you can tab to complete the rest of it, and F as in Frank. Yep, there you go, enter. All right, and now you are in the front end folder on your local machine. And as you can see now that you're in a Git controlled folder, you'll see that you have the branch that you're on right there in your terminal prompt, and it's main. That's the branch that you're on. All right, great. So then the first thing that we're gonna do is go ahead and create a new branch, because we do all of our work in what's called a feature branch. So to create a new branch, you'll type in git and then space, sorry, well, we're gonna check out a new branch as we create it. So git checkout, and then a space, -B as in Bravo, and then the name of your branch. And in this case, you can call your branch challenge, because that's what we're gonna do, is the OC challenge.
Is there a space between the B and the challenge?
There is a space between the B and the challenge.
Okay.
All right, and then press enter. All right, and it tells you that you switched to a new branch called challenge. And as you can see now, instead of saying main off to the right, it says challenge. See that?
Cool.
All right, great. So now that we're on a new branch, what we can do is go ahead and open up the VS Code, and we're going to make a change to a file. And the file that we need, up on the left, you'll see front end. Yeah, expand that, and then it's going to be under public, under static, and then it's going to be in operation code challenge, names.js. All right, so down at the bottom, you'll make a new line in between 53 and 54. And you'll type in your name with quotes around it, yep. And put a comma up on the end of line 53. Yep, cool. All right, save that file.
Where's the save?
You can do Control S.
Oh, okay.
All right, great. And then go back to Git Bash. All right, now if you type in Git Status, then it'll show you that you have a file changed. You have modified public static operation code challenge names.js. And if you do Git Diff, then it'll show you what the difference is between what it was and what it is now. It's actually 2 Fs.
Okay.
All right, see, so it says that you deleted those 2 lines and you added in these 3 lines. And you can kind of see the difference there, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's how you can check, you know, the difference when you're working in Git. All right. So in order to do the next step, we have to tell Git that we're ready to commit these things, and then we have to actually commit it. So the way that we tell Git that we're ready is we do Git Add, and then you can specify a file or a folder. So put in a space, and then a single dot means the folder that I'm currently in. So okay. That works, and then it'll add all of the changes that are in that folder, which in this case is just the one file that's changed. But yeah, press enter and it'll tell you that it's been added, or okay, I guess it doesn't really have any output, but that's okay. And if you do Git Status again, you'll see that now it has turned green. And that means that it is ready to be committed.
Oh, okay.
So next, we're going to commit it. And so when you commit, you'll want to put a short little message that says what you're doing. So do git commit -m, and then a space and the and quotation marks. I think, I don't know if it has to be double quote or single quote. I always do double quote though.
Okay.
So yeah. And inside that is going to be your message. And in this case, you'll say add Aditya. I don't know. I don't want to mess up your last name.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. 2 names, you know, or well, I guess that you don't have to say which file it is, but yeah, that's fine. All right. And then press enter. All right, so now if you'll see that it tells you that you've changed one file 3 insertions, 2 deletions, which kind of maps back to that Git Diff that we looked at before, where there was 3 new lines and 2 lines gone. And if you type in Git Log, then it will show you the list of commits, and yours is up right up at the very top. See that?
Oh yeah.
So notice how it says commit 86748 and the whole long string of characters?
Yep.
That is called the commit hash or the commit SHA. And that is a hexadecimal, really long string that shows you that it represents the commit. So when we use Git and when we move commits around and create commits, we refer to them by the SHA, and the first 6 digits is all that you need to really refer to that commit. So if you were going to do something with that commit, then you would only need the first few digits.
Okay.
And that's just something to sort of like tuck into your head for later. All right, so now I'm gonna show you what's really cool about this. So now you've committed it to the challenge branch. And if you type in, if you check out the main branch again, git checkout main, press a Q to get out of that.
Q?
Yep. All right. And then if you type in git checkout main, you'll notice over in VS Code that your name is now gone because you're back on the main branch. And that is, you didn't lose your work. Don't freak out. The thing that happened is that main is still matching what's up online, whereas challenge in the branch that we had created, it actually has your work committed to that branch. So if you do git branch, then it'll show you all of your branches. And you'll notice that you're on main. And if you do git checkout and then a dash, it goes back to the, just like that. It goes back to the previous branch that you were on. So if you press the up arrow and did that one more time, then you would go back to main.
So,
all right.
If you had like multiple branches, would you just, instead of the dash, just type in that name and then press enter and you would go to that branch?
Exactly. So yeah, you can git checkout challenge or git checkout dash to get back to challenge, because that's where we need to be for this next step. All right, so we've seen your commits in the Git log, and we've seen the way that you can switch back and forth between branches. So now the idea would be to go ahead and push the challenge branch up to GitHub, but it's probably going to give you a permission denied error. The other thing is that we cloned from the main operation code GitHub page and not from your fork. So we have to fix your remotes. All right, so type in git remote -v. All right, so you'll see that origin is your remote, and it's pointing right now to operation code /frontend.git. It needs to point to your particular Git. So what we're gonna do is git remote rm origin. All right, and so that removed it. Now what we're gonna do is add it back in, but we're gonna add it a little differently. So go back to the browser window, and you're gonna find your fork. Click on that code button again, and copy that to your clipboard. Yep. And then you'll type in git remote add origin, and then the string that you copied.
Okay.
And then we're also going to add in another one called upstream. And that's going to point to the main operation code front end repository. So go back to the browser window and click on that operation code front end link. And then click code. And then, yep, copy that. And then do that same command again, git remote add origin, or sorry, but it's not going to be origin, it's going to be upstream. Add upstream. And then that link. Great, now if you do git remote -v again, you should see both origin and upstream.
Oh, I spelled that wrong.
Yep, it's all good. All right, so now you see that origin points to your branch, as it should, or your fork rather, and upstream points to the main operation code repository.
Okay.
So the next command that is likely going to fail with a permission error is going to be git push origin challenge. And maybe it'll work. Aha!
Oh.
I don't know what went wrong there. Perhaps we had actually typed in that origin wrong or something. I don't know what might have gone wrong. But either way, hey, look at that. So you'll notice that it spits out in the output of that command a link for https github.com/ your username /frontend /pull new challenge. And so if you click that link, or it's the same as that compare and pull request button that showed up, that's the same place that it's going to take you. And that's where we're going to go next. So what this is this is the screen to open a new pull request. So the base repository is going to be operation code front end. That's the place that the repo that you're trying to merge your changes into. Okay. Now the base branch is the branch that you're trying to merge it into. And then the head repository is your branch, so your repo, and it's comparing to your branch challenge. So that's what the top means. So if you ever are, if perhaps like something got a little messed up and you were, it thought that you were trying to merge into a different thing than what it is, that's where you would go and change that. But this is exactly what we want to do. We want to bring your changes from the challenge branch on your fork into the main branch of the operation code front end repo.
Okay.
Any questions about that part?
No.
Okay, awesome. So the title of the PR, it automatically populates with whatever your commit message was. So I don't know if you want to like capitalize your name or anything kind of fancy like that, but we have a template for our front end repo that shows, description of changes, issue resolved, screenshots, GIFs, etc. In this particular one, you're just completing the challenge. So you're not, I wouldn't worry too much about filling out a whole, the whole thing. But up at the description portion, you can just put, completing operation code challenge.
Okay. Right here?
Yep. All right, and if you scroll down even further, then you'll notice that the changes are actually shown. And so you can see that you've added your name. And that's the big change. All right, so then that green create pull request button will create the pull request. And this pull request is just a, you asking us like, hey, I want to make these changes. Will you please merge them in? And that's what it is. So, so what happens next at this particular point, once you've opened your pull request, then you wait for, the reviewers to come in and review it. And if they like your change, then they'll approve it and they'll merge it in. And if they don't, then they'll say, hey, you need to change, these things about it. about your particular pull requests, and then you make those changes so that way they want to merge it in.
Okay.
So just for context, I feel like I skimmed over this part, and I'm sorry about that. I'm going to link you in Slack the page for what the challenge is. And while I'm reviewing your changes, you can go ahead and read that, so that way, you know, everybody kind of knows like some context of what we're doing here. So we've pretty much already done all of the step-by-step instructions. But you know, if you scroll a little bit further down, then you'll see your name here. It's a little bit further down than that. It's the blue one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see? And so what it's going to do is it's going to add you right there as number 53.
Whoa.
All right, so head back over to the PR.
Where'd it go? Okay.
All right, and if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see some checks have not been completed yet. So what this is doing, there's a whole bunch of checks that we have, and what you call these checks is CI, or continuous integration is what that stands for.
Okay.
And so what this does is it basically, there's a server somewhere on the internet run by Circle CI. And what they do is every time that a pull request is opened, all of these different checks get run automatically. And so it clones down the repo onto their server, and it runs the tests, the unit tests, integration tests, all of the things that are listed on there. The Cypress tests, and so these are all you know, different tests that make sure that the code is good and that everything still does what it's supposed to do. So these are sort of like a kind of safety net, automatic checks to make sure that everything's good. And some of them take you know, quite a while, not too long, but you know, they might take a good 5 or 10 minutes to run.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll see details, and they can you can see like what's actually happening in the test. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and approve this change. So now all we have to do is wait for the CI to complete, and then we'll be able to merge it.
Cool.
So I'm trying to think if there's some other Git stuff. Does anybody on the call have any questions about, you know, Git, or like, you know, anything kind of relevant to what we've just gone over? No? Okay. Cool. Well, so I think that some of the key takeaways that are good to go over at this particular juncture is whenever you make changes, you always want to do it in a feature branch. And the reason why is because of this whole workflow that we just went through. When you make your pull request, you want to make the changes from your branch into the main branch. And part of that is because, you know, I'm approving this and we're going to merge it, you know, pretty quickly here on the call, so it won't have taken so long. But in another situation, you might be working on a feature for several days or weeks even. And when that happens, there might be other changes that are merged into main in between that time. So you'll want to get the latest changes to keep it up to date. And the only way that you can do that is by pulling down you know, to the main branch. And if you don't keep your feature separate, then you get that all mixed in and it's just a mess. So you can think of a branch as like a way to kind of like keep this stuff for one feature separate from the rest of what's going on in the repository. And you can also work on multiple features at a time this way. So you can have one thing going on in one branch and one thing going on in another branch, and they don't conflict with each other and they don't interact with each other at all.
So if two people have like the same idea and they're working on it, but they're doing it in different ways, like
Sure.
So sorry, I'm trying to formulate what I'm asking. So if one person posts the changes before the other person, would you just like deny the request, or would you like incorporate some of what the other person put in?
Generally, we try to prevent that on like a people level rather than like with technology. We just try to like, people will ask like, hey, can I work on this feature? And then we'll say, yeah, sure. And we'll assign people that feature. And then everybody knows that that person is working on that feature. And then they don't, you know, they don't go ahead and work on it because they know someone else is working on it.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that, you know, yeah, it's happened before, and two people will push up two different branches. Usually the first person to push it up will be the person that we end up going with because they got to it first. But at the same time, like, you know, I guess anything could happen. It really depends on like how many changes need to be made to that code. I think that it would just be kind of a case-by-case basis in that situation.
Okay.
But yeah, so just like looking around at the PR, if you scroll up a little bit to the, yeah, so you'll see these tabs for the conversation, commits, checks, and files changed. If you click on the commits one, then you'll see this is the list of commits that we're actually trying to merge. And over on the right, that blue link that's 8674873, that's that SHA that I mentioned before, the commit hash. So you'll see that on GitHub, it's always considered, you know, the hash is everything about the commit. And then if you look at the files change tab, then you'll see the actual changes that were in that PR.
Okay.
So when the reviewers come in and review changes, that's where they do it. They click on that review changes button, and that's where they can make their comments. And then you could also make a comment on a particular line of code by hovering over the plus or minus sign that's just to the left of the code itself. And see, it gives you that button. And if you click that, then it'll bring down a place to leave a comment. So you could leave a comment on that particular line of code, line 55.
Okay.
Now, obviously, in this case, you know, we don't really need to make any comments. Maybe if you had forgotten that that comma or something, then I might have created a comment for line 53 and said, hey, you forgot your comma here. Got to add that in. You know, something like that. But in this case, everything was fine. And then in the checks tab, I think that's the CI checks that we were talking about before. Yeah, Mergify. So not as interesting because everything is kind of the same as over on the conversation tab. Alrighty, let's see what else. Oh, you know what I didn't show you that's kind of cool is a lot of times when you're working on something, like in this case with the challenge, there wasn't like an issue associated with it, but a lot of times there will be. And if you click on that issues tab, then you can see these are all the different issues that we're trying to you know, resolve within the repo. And so like if you notice that all of them have a number assigned with them, like number 1200, number 1199. If
Yeah.
you reference in your PR that it fixes a particular issue, then it will automatically close that issue. So you would say something like fixes number 1200, and then it would automatically close out that top issue once the PR is merged.
Okay.
So when you're working on a particular issue, then you'll want to, use either fixes or resolves. I think there's like a couple of different keywords that you can use that will automatically close it out. All right.
Well, like, okay, I'll, like, right after 1197, like, it skips, like, to 1163. Does that mean, like, everything in between those two numbers has been solved?
Yeah, so either it was an issue or it was a pull request, because issues and pull requests both have the same number sequence.
Oh, okay.
So like, for example, your PR is number 1203. And so if you, as a matter of fact, go back into your PR real quick and let me show you another feature of GitHub. Scroll down to the text box where you can add a comment. And type in a hash or a number sign. And then it populates all of the different issues that you might be talking about. Those are the ones that they think that you might mean.
Okay.
And so if you reference, like, type in 1196 or something. All right, and then click the preview tab that's right there above right next to the right tab. So as you can see, it turns into a link when you actually post it. And if you hover over that link, or if you click on it, then it'll go straight to the issue that it's talking about. So that's just kind of a cool, like, way to link issues and PRs. And so you always want to, like, mention which issue your pull request is associated with, if it's associated with a pull request. In this case, it's not. So that's
okay.
fine. All right, so at this step in the workflow, the changes the checks have passed. And so as one of the moderators of this, or moderator isn't the right word, but in any case, I approve pull requests. And so I'm going to go ahead and merge it.
Okay.
All right, it's been merged. Woohoo!
Yay.
So now what you'll find is that main is actually up to date with this commit in it. Now what I did was called a squash and merge. And what happens in that situation is that the commit hash for your commit that was in your branch is actually not the same as the one that ends up in the main branch. So if you go to, for example, the code tab over on the left.
Okay.
You'll see now that the latest commit, was pushed 1 minute ago, and it was that add Aditya, right? And if you click on somewhere over there, it'll actually show you click the clock with the 4663, and then that'll show you all of the commits. And so you'll notice that your commit hash that's in main is actually now 1115834 rather than that 87 whatever. And the reason why is because, like I said, I did a squash, and when that matters more is when there's, like, multiple commits. Like if you did 3 or 4 or 5 commits on your branch, then it would squash them all down into one commit.
Okay.
Okay, so the next step in the workflow is now you need that commit, that 11 158 down on your local machine. It's not there. It only exists up in GitHub right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what you'll do is go over to that Git Bash terminal, and you'll do git checkout main. And now you'll do git pull upstream main. And what a pull does is it grabs the code that's up on GitHub and it brings it down to your local machine, and that's called a fetch. And then it merges it into the branch that you're currently on, which is main. So it gets the upstream changes from main and it merges it in there. And then you can see that it performed what's called a fast forward merge. And it changed one file with 3 insertions and 2 deletions. And so that's that same Git diff that we saw before. And if you do Git log right now, then you'll see up at the top, it's that, add a commit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So now we're ready to delete that challenge feature branch. So press Q to get out of that. And then you can do git branch dash capital D. D is in Delta.
Oh, okay.
And then challenge. And then that's going to delete your branch, your feature branch.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you do git branch, then you'll see that it's gone and all you have is main.
Oh, okay.
And so now you're up to date and you're ready to make a new branch and do a new change.
Cool.
So that's the basic intro to Git and GitHub. We learned some things along the way about Windows, and there's still some mysteries about why your permission was denied. Probably it was a typo somewhere, but who knows? In any case, we got it, and you were able to open your first pull request.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in Slack. I will upload this video to YouTube for people who want to follow along later.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.